Mm. Hello, Durga. We'll just start the live, but we'll give it a couple minutes to see if some people want to join in. I am going to kick off the YouTube live. And it's recording. Come on in. Stay a while. We will get started here shortly. I wish I could put some music on, but they would charge me for that. So we're going to wait for a couple minutes and then we'll get started here. Lots of information to share with everyone today. Hey everyone, we will be starting here shortly. So who actually has on pajamas since I said come in your pajamas? I'm just curious. Anybody actually have pajamas on? All right, we're going to wait 2 more minutes and then we'll get started here. And I will share some information with you guys. Alrighty. All right, everybody, it's 7:10, so let's go ahead and get started. Actually going to start us off with a quick little prayer here. Dear Father God, thank you for this opportunity to share this platform with everyone today. Let them receive this information in good hearts and allow them to ask any questions that may be on their mind. I ask you just to bless this proceeding and allow it to be enlightening for everyone. And for those who are in the community, let them hear what needs to be heard to make a good, positive decision for the better outcome of their community. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome today. Today is a special day for me. Today is my mom's birthday, actually. She would have been turning 65 years old today. She would have been collecting that huge Social Security check and living high off the hog. Unfortunately, my mother missed some warning signs early in her life, and those warning signs turned out to be stage 4 colon cancer for her. She did some things on her own instead of going to a doctor and getting checked out, and because of that, she lost her battle with cancer almost 10 years ago now. So what I'm doing for part of this campaign is I'm dedicating this one to making sure that people are aware that there's testing available, and this is a preventable. Colon cancer is one of the preventable type cancers because it builds up so slowly in your body. I just want to make sure that everybody knows, go out there and get tested. Women, especially when you turn 50, you should be lined up getting tested. If you have a history of it in your family, you should go at age 45 to get tested. Just call your insurance company. Most insurance companies allow it to get covered for free these days. So I just want to make sure that throughout this process that I sprinkle a little bit of information out there, because with proper information, my mom could have probably still been here today. Okay, so there's a cure out there for these things, and we'll find it one day. So I want to use this campaign to bring across a little bit of awareness for cancer. So every time you see something from me, you'll see a little bit of pink in there. You can't really see this right here closely enough, but there's a little pink in everything that I'm putting out there just to bring a little bit more awareness to this cancer process. Okay, so with that being said, happy birthday to Rose Marie Dobson, my mom. I hope you're having a great day up in heaven with Granny and Granddaddy. Hope they threw a big party for you today. A lot has changed in the last 10 years just since she's been gone. And I just, sometimes I think in the back of my head, I hope she's looking down and thinks, I'm proud of the stuff that you're doing, and I'm proud that you're stepping out there and trying some new things. So let me introduce myself formally now. So hello, Fayette County, and everybody else who's tuned in from around. I am John Dobson, and I am officially running for the office of Circuit Court Clerk. This is a Democratic primary, so my opponent and I will be vying for your vote on May 22nd, 2018. This is a winner take all, so it becomes very important to get out and vote on May 22nd to cast your vote for who do you want to represent you in the office of Circuit Court Clerk. Now, I'm going to just talk a little bit about this position because there are some people who may not be fully aware. I find it many times that people say, is it the county clerk? And the county clerk handles a whole slew of things that are completely different from the circuit court clerk. So I just want to bring just a little bit of awareness about what this position is. So the circuit court clerk was formed through the Judicial Articles of Incorporation in or around about 1976. So the court system is not that old in Kentucky, if you didn't realize that. The circuit court clerks actually have this awesome responsibility of overseeing and management of all circuit and district court records. That includes all the paper, it includes all the electronic filings that come in that was introduced recently that come into that office. They oversee all of that comes into that office. They also oversee the driver's license in this particular county as well. So there's other state IDs that get issued through there. Okay, so in Fayette County, the Circuit Court Clerk's office, there's about a little bit over 100 team members that work in that office that serve the judicial needs of the community. And those people there, they actually have a 24-hour open session there in Fayette County. They do have night court and things like that to make it a little bit more convenient for people who have gotten traffic tickets and those type of things. So So let me tell you, so now that's a little bit about circuit court clerks. So how do you qualify to become a circuit court clerk? Okay, so you have it's really just a two-step process to become qualified for the circuit court clerk. One is you have to pass a test, a written test that's administered by the administrative office of the courts. With that test, you have to pass with a grade of 70 or higher. Okay, and let me tell you this. That 3-hour test for someone who hadn't been in the testing environment since 2010 was a booger. But I wouldn't be here talking to you today if I didn't pass that test. Now, they don't tell you what score you make. It's a pass-fail, so I got above a 70. I'd be curious to know which areas I need improvement on, but that's neither here nor there right now. So that's one part, okay? The second part is that you have to get 2 individuals of your same party who are willing to back you and sign a form that basically states to confirm you say who you are who you say you are. Okay, so I'll give a shout out right now to Corey and Allison. Thank you for coming to my rescue and signing up that form for me. And Amy in my neighborhood here, who was my my notary, who has a very great penmanship, by the way. And then you file a $50 fee. So that's it. Take a test, get 2 friends to sign off on a form for you, pay a $50 fee, and voila, I am now going to be on the ballot for, officially qualified on the ballot for the running of office of circuit court clerk. Now, mind you, qualifying for the office and being able to officially run the office, that's 2 completely separate things. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of give you a little bit of background about me and tell you why I am qualified for this office, okay? So I have a unique background in the court system, and I think it positions me to serve Fayette County pretty well. So my career actually started as a co-op while attending EKU, Go Colonels, over 22 years ago. Seems like a blink now, but it was actually 22 years ago. And I give a shout out to Miss Jones in the EKU co-op office, who is actually still there today, for pointing me in this direction. Because by her pointing me in this direction, it gave me a path, it gave me a direction that I could go into and pursue where I am now. Okay, so, and over those 22 years, I've had a variety of positions at the administrative office of the courts, ranging from the aforementioned statewide co-op pretrial officer position. So that one there, I traveled the state, went from district to district, county to county, and performed pretrial officer services. That's basically letting people out of jail, getting them qualified for bail. I was also a pretrial criminal background check supervisor. And in that role there, you basically run the background checks for individuals so that they can be qualified for different positions. Okay. I was also a general manager of court services. And court services is where a very unique situation comes in for me, because that position there is what really qualifies me directly for the circuit clerk's office, because that general manager of court services, that group there provided training to clerks statewide. So that means we went into every single courthouse statewide to do trainings for new clerks, to do not necessarily audits, I'll say, but we reviewed the processes that they had in place to make sure they were complied with the statewide rules that are put out by the Supreme Court. Okay. I was also sworn in at one time as the Kentucky Courts Records Officer. And that was a position that oversaw archiving and maintaining of all court records. And to my surprise, recently I went out to the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives website, and they still have me listed out there as the records officer. So we're going to come back later to that point right there. Maybe next week I'll put out something, because I want to publicly address some things that went on in that role for the first time in more detail. You don't want to miss that one. So you really want to come back for that post, because I've never actually spoken about what some things that went on in that role. And I want you to be able to hear those firsthand from me and not from anybody else. Okay. So throughout my years, I've had over 9 different roles while I was at the AOC. In the last position, I was actually serving as the application services manager. Now, that's really just a software development manager, but somebody thought it was a good little term to change the name to application services manager. Okay, so I had a team of around 31 software developers, database administrators, and report writers. All those people there were direct reports to me of some way, somehow over the last, I would say 10 years is about how long I was in that particular role. Okay, so while I was working at the AOC, I was able to take this more of this holistic statewide view of the different circuit court clerk operations and kind of assess processes that worked really well, and then also look at some processes that needed to be tweaked a little bit. So by doing that, you get to see the good and the bad in the small counties. You get to see the good and the bad in the larger counties like Jefferson County or Robertson County. You can see those type of things, and then you can kind of get a picture of what will work well for Fayette County. Okay, so that's why I've come up with 4 major points that I'm going to address in my first year as serving as your circuit court clerk. Okay, so while I was working for the state, I would say that over the last 22 years, my greatest contribution has definitely been in the area of technology. That's why this campaign is really going to focus on my technology background and how I think I can address some things in the circuit clerk's office, or bring some new life into the circuit clerk's office that provides benefits to our citizens in Fayette County through a technology standpoint. Okay, so just a little bit more about my background. So I was a lead software developer that created the first internet-based CourtNet system that went on to serve first internal court staff in remote offices throughout Kentucky. And then also it served for law enforcement as well. So they had a system in their cruisers called KY Ops. You can see a lot of law enforcement driving around with laptops. And in those laptops, they could connect to this CourtNet system to do background checks immediately on the fly. Okay, so I was the first developer to work on that particular project and get that out the door. And I'm very proud of that project too. That project stood in place for, I would say, a good 12 to 15 years there. So just if you're not familiar with how the CourtNet system actually works, what that is basically is every circuit clerk's office, all 120 of them, they do a electronic entry of the paperwork that comes in. And when that paperwork comes in, that data feeds into a central database. And then CourtNet allows that central database to be used throughout the state. Okay, so that's how that works. Later, we did a scaled down version that was just available for the general public to track pending cases. So with that one, we also allowed it to be integrated into the court events. We allowed the court events, to be integrated into the Victims Information and Networking Everyday System. Now that system there is also known as VINE. And VINE is a system that's developed to allow for victims of domestic violence to be informed and aware of court proceedings through timely court notifications. Okay, so that's a very important thing there. So let me express that one more time. When you have a victim of domestic violence and that victim wants to be notified of the court events that are going on pertaining to their case, they can log on to this CourtNet system, click a few buttons, type in a few confidential contact information, and be notified without having to do anything else. That's called push notification. And we're going to get into some push notification things when I'm taking over the Circuit Court Clerk's office here in Fayette County as well. Okay. So I am most proud though of the last project that I worked on, because that was one of those things where the first projects were things that were already in place, right? So the last project is something that we could kind of mold. And when I say I definitely mean my team, okay? So I'm not going to throw out any names of the team members who I work with, just so we won't create no conflicts of interest. But there are some things that I really am proud of for this last thing that we created. So I was serving in the role of Application Services Manager, and we developed this statewide electronic court case filing system for Kentucky, and it was known as e-filing. In that same effort, we also rolled out this new CourtNet 2.0. And I was sad to see my first baby, CourtNet Classic, get replaced, but it was time to move on. And lastly, we also started working on developing our internal case management system that we aptly named KY Courts 3. And KY Courts 3 is in pilot right now in Trimble County under the guidance of Judge Crosby and Circuit Court Clerk Stacy Bruner. And they are doing an excellent job of pushing through and making sure that it meets the needs of the clerk's office there. Okay. So if you're familiar with the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Minton, he stated numerous times before the Kentucky legislators that the current system that we had in place, it needed a major upgrade. And I was a part of that leadership team that drove the technology and the business decisions behind those much needed upgrades. And for that, I am really proud and honored to have been a part of that effort. Okay. So my focus as Circuit Court Clerk will continue to be on driving Fayette County to new heights in technology advances. But here's the difference between me and my opponent. And that is, I'm not just going to talk the talk, because I actually have proven the skill set to walk the walk. Now I'm giving you a little bit about my background, and I've told you a little bit about the position of Circuit Court Clerk. So now I'm going to go into 4 areas. So these are what I'm calling my first year 4-step agenda items. Okay. After this go live meeting right here, you'll be able to go to the votedobson.com, and you will be able to read in detail some of the things that I'm going over now if I'm talking just a little bit too fast, or you want to go actually take notes and study what is this boy really talking about. Okay. So then you can go back and do that. Okay. So my first agenda item is labeled Conduct Efficiency Analysis with Technology-Focused Solutions. All right, I'm going to say that one more time. Conduct efficiency analysis with a technology-focused solutions. Okay, so I'm going to take a good hard approach and look at and meet with all the current team members. Okay, and we're just going to have an earnest discussion of all the current processes that are in place. Why would you do that? Well, what's this going to prove for you? So I have found over the years that many great leaders are great because they first learn to follow. So this exercise here that I'm going to do, it will allow me to follow a pattern that I learned when I was the manager of records division at the AOC. So there in my short time as managing that group, I had a staff of around 80 employees, and they worked 3 shifts operating 24/7. In my first week of management and managing that team, so I took this big whiteboard in the conference room, and we just started listing out every process that we utilized in that area. And then we started finding out what was required and what was not. And what turned out from those conversations is that there's a process that was used to create a third shift, and it turned out to really be just a misunderstanding of the legislative intent. So there was legislation that said that you had to have a response time within 24 hours, and that response time was actually geared toward the Kentucky State Police and not meant for the administrative office of the courts. So we actually put in place plans to restructure our third shift and kind of merge them into a second shift so that we could kind of save money from running 3 different shifts. So there was no need to run 3 shifts because we were not under the same obligations as the state police to provide record checks in that much of a timely fashion. I think the limit was like 2 hours or something like that for maybe domestic violence cases. Okay, so I'm going to take that same approach in Fayette County, and I would do the same careful analysis of the information gathered from the team, and then I'm going to work to create a detailed plan to start addressing any inefficiencies that can be overcome with technology advancements. Okay, and like I said, you can read more about this agenda item on my campaign website, or you can drop me a message here in the comments. You can send me an email at votedobson@gmail.com and let me know some of your thoughts and comments along the way. And if it's appropriate, I'll address them right here tonight as well as time permits. Okay. My second agenda item is going to be increase access to e-filings for self-representing litigants. Okay, so let me explain that. So a self-representing litigant is a person that does not utilize the services of an attorney when they're initially filing a court case. So I'm going to have an increased conversation with the AOC management and the technology services management team about plans to expedite and roll out the e-filing system beyond the use of just attorneys only. Okay. To date, this wonderful system of allowing Kentucky cases to be electronically filed anywhere in the connected world is only available to the registered members of the bar. Okay, so I would do everything within my abilities to open this system up to those non-attorneys as well. You will find out that I will be a big advocate for making the court system easier to navigate by self-representing litigators. My core belief is that we need to make the court system accessible to the least of us. Okay, so again, drop me a message on this thought. Let me know if you agree, you disagree. Let's just have an open discussion about everything court related in this one. So I'm right now, I'm just an open book. And the one thing I'm good at is finding answers that are within my realm of knowledge. Okay, so if you ask me something, I don't know it right now immediately, I'll look it up and I'll get back to you on that. All right, so my third agenda item is advanced implementation of the juror notification system. So again, I'm going to work with ALC Technology Services to advance our juror notification system. I truly believe that jurors are critical to the success of a fair and impartial judicial system. And we need to make sure that we're making serving as a juror as convenient as possible. And we've got this, like I said, we got this new highly connected world, not quite as connected as the movie The Circle, if you've seen that one, because that one took you to a whole nother level, but connected enough that we can come up with better ways to service our jurors. So right now, I'm actually in contact with two of my former co-head coach soccer friends who are about to serve jury duty within the next month in Fayette County. And I'm just going to gather information from them on their experiences. So I will work to ensure that any and all notification systems have been vetted and implemented as quickly as possible. Again, check out more information on my website for details and more. You can drill down a little bit further into these comments. Then you can also reach out to me and give me comments and feedback, and then just have a good open discussion about this. Okay, so my fourth and final agenda item that we're going to discuss tonight is called Create Opportunities for Fair, Equitable Pay for our deputy clerks. So this final agenda item will be my most challenging for sure. I will engage the Chief Justice, the ALC Director, the ALC Budget Director, your mama, your auntie, your uncle, all of them. I'm going to talk to anybody who will listen about the enhancing deputy clerk salary. So I recently read how the current president of the Circuit Court Clerks Association, John Middleton, he was before the legislator fighting for this same equal pay for deputy clerks. And that's a great move, John. I mean, thumbs up on that one. Plus, I like the name. The current and prior Chief Justices have expressed to legislators on numerous occasions about fair pay among the branches of government. But it just appears like those requests have fallen on deaf ears. Now, I mean, they've made progress, but progress is okay. But when you still have a staff member working for a state government agency who has to be on welfare to supplement their pay, you didn't make enough strides. So we've got to do something in that one. Okay, so I plan to try something a little bit different. So my approach would be similar to what I was able to accomplish with the software development staff when we were able to take a vacant, unfilled position and kind of combine that with another position to try to create a higher salary. So in theory, when a clerk transition out, and depending on the duties for that clerk's position, I'm going to freeze that position, not fill it again, okay? And then I'm going to seek out permission from the ALC to create a new senior deputy clerk position, okay? So that's going to be my strategy on that one. So what that would do is it would allow me to merge the salary from that frozen position with that of a normal clerk position. And by doing this, we can accomplish a higher salary for that position. And like I said, it would be called like a senior deputy clerk position. And then by doing that, we would also require and increase the depth of knowledge for that deputy clerk position by introducing a career ladder for our dedicated long-term staff. So again, so that I don't go super duper long, read up more about that on my votedobson.com after this telecast is gone, and then you can go in and send me feedback on that one. If you have ideas that you think, okay, well, I like where you're going with that one, but can you also do this? Throw me your ideas. I would be happy to hear them and expand upon those with you and just have a good open dialogue about that. Okay, so now I've gone over my agenda items. I've gone over a little bit about the clerk's position. So let me just talk about me just for a couple more minutes here, okay? So I've worked in Keeneland. If anybody knows what Keeneland is, that's the horse park. I've worked at Keeneland shoveling manure. I've worked as a city garbage collector via temp services. I've worked in Kentucky tobacco fields. I mentioned this, so you would know that I've come through the ranks. No silver spoons in my mouth here. Just someone who saw opportunities in life, and I just went for them. Okay, that's kind of how I am when I see opportunity. I am proud. I'm a proud graduate of Henry Clay High School, class of '91, Blue Devils. In '96, I obtained my bachelor's degree in police administration with a minor in computer information systems from EKU. Shout out to EKU, all the colonels out there tonight. In 2010, I obtained my master's degree in public administration from the University of Kentucky. And let me tell you, that was a tough degree to get. UK was ranked in the top 6 in that program at the time. And I can remember getting a lot of papers sent back to me saying, yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit better than that. So, but I finally got it, finished my capstone, and I'm glad I moved on from that one. Okay, so let's jump over real quick to some other topics that I've got out there. How can you help out with the campaign here? So if we're looking at just donations, I want to make sure this is absolutely clear, because this is something that I really believe in myself. So as of now, what I've done is I've calculated my road to victory is going to require maybe about $5,000 to $6,000. So that's what I've calculated out. And I came to this total based on materials needing to be purchased for, to get the Dobson name out there and about in Fayette County. This includes mailers and business cards, little things like that to get people who have maybe never heard about the Circuit Court Clerk position, or maybe who's never been introduced to John Dobson, to get that name out there. But I'm a big believer in following the Dave Ramsey plan, so I want to make sure this is absolutely clear. If you are living in debt, I want you to consider how much you would want to donate if you were able to donate. But if you're in debt, don't donate the money. Convert that money into sweat equity and participate by knocking on some doors. Just keep your money and focus on removing your personal debt, and then you can turn that into a benefit for the community, and it'll be far greater than it can to help my campaign out. And I really mean that. So don't go in debt more just by trying to help me out. Would I love it? Absolutely. But would I love it if you're still in debt? No. Keep your money in that way. Let's use sweat equity to do that part of it. Okay. Now, if you are in good financial space, and I would love for you to donate to the campaign, and in any of the following ways right here. So we've got Facebook. So on Facebook, if you go to the Vote Dobson page, there's a donation link down the side. You can click there. I believe the maximum is $1,000, or you can go all the way down to any number that you feel comfortable with. There's a custom box for you to do that. So remember, this is your personal decision on how you want to participate in this campaign. Okay, so you can also donate by going to the votedobson.com website. On that website, once it's launched, you would be able to click on a link at the top that says donate at the top of the page. From there, you would have the exact same options you will see on Facebook. It's just giving people multiple options, because not everybody is on Facebook. I know there's a billion people on Facebook, but maybe you're one of those ones who just don't want to do it. Okay, so if you're local or abroad, so if you're local, you can write a check, and I can swing by and pick that up from you. While I'm picking it up, I'm probably gonna get a hug. I'm just saying, that's what I do. Or you can donate in cash, and I can come by and pick that up. I'm going to throw in another hug for the cash. If you live far away and you want to donate by check, then all I need from you there is just to inbox me, tell me who you are, and then I will give you an address that you can mail the check to. Okay, so that's it about money. That's it about donation. I appreciate it. Like I said, my number is between $5,000 and $6,000 to get for the road to victory. And anything that you can help, as long as you're not in debt, I appreciate it. Okay, so one thing I threw in here at the last moment, because I just want to make sure this is very clear. Since I've worked in state government for a long time, I have many contacts that want to support me from state government. I just want to be sure we're on the same page on how this works. So if you're working for state government, that rules you out from actively campaigning for me. Boo to the rules, but we got to follow them, right? Okay, so please check with your HR before you donate and make sure everything is cool before you do that. Because the one thing we don't need is you losing your job to support John Dobson. Because I don't need to put you in my back room because you donated to me. All right. But no matter what, whether you can donate or not, because of the agency that you work for, you can still vote on May 22nd. Make sure that's very important that you keep that date out there. Okay, so how can you get in touch with me? So there's several ways you can get in touch with me, okay, as we wrap up here. You got votedobson.com. You've got facebook.com/votedobson. I'm on Twitter at votedobson. I'm on Instagram at votedobson. And then you can send me an email at votedobson@gmail.com. And actually, we have a phone number that you can call as well and leave a message there, or send a text message to it at 859-813-0734. These will also be available to you on the website. Okay, so let's just do a quick little recap, and then we will see if there's any questions in there. Because we covered a lot of information, and I really appreciate you all hanging out with me on YouTube, hanging out with me on Facebook, and this is really important to me. So let's just do a quick little recap here. So again, I am John Dobson. I am #1 on the ballot for Circuit Court Clerk. I am running for Circuit Court Clerk in Fayette County. This is a Democratic primary election with the voting date set for May 22nd. Don't show up on May 23rd because the party is over by then. Okay, so I've walked you through the role of this office. I have walked you through my qualifications, where I believe that I am well qualified for this position. And I leave you with this. I am very capable, I am willing, and I am ready to serve. Thank you, Fayette County. Let's make some history together. I love you all. Y'all have a great night.